Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. In this video, I'm going to react to how bad was Johnny Manziel actually. I remember a few years ago, this was before I was really into NFL. On my YouTube homepage, there would always be videos from First Take with Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith, and they would be talking about this guy called Johnny Manziel, how he was going to be the next big quarterback. You know, he was potentially going to be the next Tom Brady. I think he was he was basically going to be the next best quarterback of all time. There was so much hype around him, and I don't hear about him anymore. I don't know if he made it to the league and was a bust, or if he's still in the league but he didn't quite live up to the expectations. So I'm really interested to actually find out what happened. You know, why didn't he live up to that hype? So yeah, this should be quite an interesting video. So let's do it.
If you watched football in 2012, you know all about Johnny Manziel. He became a legend in less than one season, the freshman QB that beat Bama. And if you watched him, you formed an opinion on it. Everybody had an opinion. Manziel was one of the most polarizing college.
He looks a bit short for a quarterback. Quarterbacks are typically really tall, aren't they?
Athletes we've seen. Brash, arrogant, and incomparable on the field. How did it all fall apart? How bad was Johnny Manziel actually? Before he was Money Manziel, Johnny was raised in Kerrville.
Money Manziel. That's a sick nickname.
Right outside of San Antonio, Texas. Like every Texas town, high school football was king. Johnny played 3 full varsity seasons at quarterback, where his fame rose to folk hero, helping small Tivy High School compete against larger powerhouse schools. By the end of his high school career, he racked up 75 touchdown passes, 78 running touchdowns, and even caught 5 more touchdowns.
Wow.
He was Mr. Texas, AP Texas Player of the Year, All-American. You name it, he won it, despite wanting so badly to be—
Damn, look at this stadium. Packed.
Be a Texas Longhorn. That's about the only offer he didn't get. Under 6 foot, Manziel felt his height kept him from 5-star ratings and an offer from his dream school. It fueled his play style and his fiery personality. Despite originally committing to Chip Kelly and the Oregon Ducks with their hyperspeed offense, Texas A&M QB coach Tom Rossley convinced him to flip and play for his childhood team's rival. Johnny Football was headed to College Station. As a freshman, Johnny would redshirt. Before he ever played it down, Manziel would have his first run-in with off-field controversy. Manziel was cited with 3 misdemeanor charges right before fall camp.
Dude, I mean, you could make it to the NFL. Just keep your head on straight. What the—
Story goes that Johnny and a friend were out late when his buddy threw a racial slur at a guy. While trying to keep the peace between the two, the man swung on Manziel, who retaliated. An officer pulled up to the altercation, and when asked to give identification, Johnny gave the cop a fake Louisiana ID.
Oh man, the decision making. Poor.
Safe to say he didn't fall for it, throwing Johnny in jail for the night and charging him with disorderly conduct and 2 identification charges. The first of many run-ins didn't scare off Texas A&M though. No less than 2 weeks later, he was named the Aggie starter. That surprised the national media, but what came next captivated them. From his first start on Kyle Field, you couldn't take your eyes off the Aggies. He was a walking top 10 highlight. On the field, he was King Midas. Everything Money Manziel touched or threw turned to gold. As a freshman, Manziel was doing the unthinkable. Against Arkansas, Johnny Football torched their defense for 557 yards of total.
So he actually could ball. He was a good player,
total offense. The detonation of offense broke a 43-year-old record. Then he did it again, 576 yards. The new record only stood for 2 weeks, slightly less time than 43 years. Johnny Football is still the only SEC player with multiple 500-plus yard games in a season. Spoiler, the next moment is the climax of Johnny Manziel's football career. Texas A&M walked into Tuscaloosa to face the biggest, baddest SEC bully of them all, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Just like Goliath fell, so would the Tide. Behind Johnny Manziel's slingshot and the game of a lifetime, Texas A&M toppled Alabama. Manziel finished his legendary season the first freshman to throw for 3,000 yards.
Man, so at this point, everything is looking rosy. Everything is looking fantastic. What went wrong?
And run for 1,000 more. He broke the freshman offensive record and even set the 3 highest offensive outputs in SEC history. Every college award went to Johnny Manziel in 2012, the Manning, the O'Brien, and yes, even the Heisman Trophy. It had never been given to a freshman before Manziel. The hype for Johnny football reached fever levels. So did the pressure, the expectations, and the limelight. Manziel had a hard time adjusting to fame. Cameos with Drake, music videos, throwing out first pitches. The guy was everywhere. I'm doing the things I've always done. It's just treated different when you're being watched so closely. Straight from Manziel's mouth. The controversies came in bunches. He attended the Manning Passing Academy, a collection of the most elite amateur passers in the world, only to be sent home after oversleeping. But he had time to make...
Oh, dude, for oversleeping, you couldn't get up when the alarm went off.
Twitter posts at the haters on winning in the casino. As if that wasn't enough, he did something that threatened his eligibility. Manziel was accused of signing autographs for a 5-figure flat fee. It became the talk of the football world. Johnny's parents went...
Hold on, why can't he can't make money from being a college player? That seemed... Oh yeah, college players aren't paid. Personally, I still think that's unfair.
On ESPN and told reporters they were incredibly worried about their son, his future, and even his well-being. Manziel would get a slap on the wrist, a half-game suspension against a weak opponent. It was clear 2013 would be his last year in college. Following the season, Manziel declared for the draft, red flags and all. Just like in college, Manziel became the most high-profile, polarizing figure in the draft. Some pundits said Manziel was undraftable. Others felt he was a budding megastar. During the draft, as he slid down into the first round, Manziel texted the Browns QB coach, "I want to wreck this league together." He asked the Browns to trade up for him, and they did. So let's answer the question once and for all. How bad was Johnny Manziel actually? To be honest, we don't know. We'll never truly know. Manziel's partying lifestyle, drug and alcohol addiction, horrible decision-making off the field, it overshadowed anything he might have accomplished.
Man, listen, like, this is just so bad. Everyone likes to party. You know, I like to party, but at the end of the day, you can't let that affect, you know, your living, what you plan to feed yourself with. It's like, did he not have like he had a dad? Like, why didn't he respect his dad? Couldn't his dad keep him in line? Like, just threw his future away.
The issues of his life were too far along once he hit the pros, and money sure didn't make things better. He was late to early rookie meetings. He got fined in one of his first on-field chances, flipping the bird to the Washington bench. He didn't get any playing time in the first 3 months of his rookie season. Johnny used that time to get into more trouble, including another physical altercation at a club. He rubbed teammates the wrong way with his immaturity. Johnny Manziel's debut start came against the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 15. And oh boy, he should have been using that time to prepare. To say it was bad is an understatement. Manziel's performance was nothing short of comical.
Sacked.
He completed 10 out of 18 passes for a sad 80 yards and 2 head-scratching interceptions. The 27.3 passer rating is the 3rd worst debut ever. We see you, Brandon Wheaton and Nate Peterman. The dark side of Johnny swung itself again. He was placed on the IR for the final game of the season. Instead of showing up for treatments, Manziel threw a huge party and ducked his job. Browns officials had to go and find Manziel the day of the game to retrieve him. Manziel had an issue, and he loved the fame, succumbed to the fortune instead of grinding harder. But Manziel was trying to figure it out, as he admitted himself into a 10-week rehab during the offseason. It would come out later that this is when Manziel was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. 2015 was just as rocky. He rode the pine on the field, a 3rd stringer. Coach Patin named Manziel the starter 2 days before a game late in the year, just for Manziel to make him look like a fool again. Video surfaced of Johnny partying the night before the game, and
I'm sorry, man. There's no excuse for this. There's no excuse. Like, you blew it. You blew it.
Browns demoted him to 3rd string again. It was clear the seriousness of where he was headed. Tell us if you've heard this story. In the final week of the 2015 season, Manziel sat on the injured reserve. Instead of being in Pittsburgh for concussion treatment, Manziel was in Las Vegas. Manziel moved from disappointment to tragedy, his dangerous behavior harming himself and others. He reportedly struck his now ex-girlfriend in the side of the head, rupturing her eardrum. This happened as Manziel allegedly dragged her into his car during an argument. As quickly as it began, Manziel's behavior ended his NFL career. The Cleveland Browns stayed with him as long as they could, but this was the last straw. His agent cut ties. On the day of the hearing for the altercation,
Whoa, his agent cut ties. Damn, man.
With his girlfriend, Manziel was seen clubbing. He refused his family's pleas to enter into a rehab facility twice. His life was spiraling. His NFL career totals finished with a 2-6 record, 57% completion rate, 1,675 yards, and 7 touchdowns to 7 interceptions with a lone rushing TD. Manziel could never be a great NFL quarterback. He himself said he didn't bring the same drive to the Browns that he brought to Texas A&M. Partying, mental and emotional issues, and lack of drive slammed the brakes on the Heisman's pro career before it ever really got off the tracks.
Man.
Now he was fighting to gain control of his life. In the years since Manziel's release from the Browns, he's made runs in and out of football leagues. He joined the Canadian Football League, and before he ever played a down for the Tiger Cats, he was traded to the Montreal Alouettes.
Wow.
Manziel couldn't find the field, and when he did, it was a shell of the original Johnny Football. After a 4-interception game, he didn't see the field much more in the CFL. Manziel was banned for life from the league not long after.
Banned?
Which isn't a surprise. When looking back on his career, Manziel
Why was he banned? He must have done something bad.
has said, "I would say we, the Browns, wasted a draft pick to go get this guy who doesn't give a f***. And that's my only thing in life that I haven't been able to look back and fully have closure on. It's probably one of the only things that I haven't looked back on and been able to be super okay with what happened. I don't appreciate going to Cleveland for 2 years and impacting and wasting 2 years of Joe Thomas's career, who's a guy that's going to be a 12-time Pro Bowler and going to be in the Hall of Fame. And I regret not going and being closer with these guys and being distant into the other life that I was living." Johnny Manziel's story is the perfect example of how talent can only take you so far.
Absolutely.
And how even the brightest of stars can fizzle out the fastest.
Oh, what a... I mean, he should have known better. He should have known better. At the end of the day, you're an adult. You're a grown-up. You know that people are fighting to get into the league. People would give anything to get into the league. You get into the NFL and you just completely blow it. You party all the time. You don't turn up to training on time. You're not respectful to your teammates who have been on the team before you. Honestly, I'd like to say I feel sorry for him, but I don't. I don't, because he was given so many opportunities to make amends, to show what he can do, and he just blew it. Sad story. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.